we are diving in for training and recovery, the effects of intensity and volume on those two different things. So when we talk about, let's talk about training first, right? So we're going to talk about training, intensity versus volume. Actually, you know what? We'll do it together. We'll do them together here. We'll kind of make it a plot graph. This is really critical because these two here, intensity versus volume, what we'll do is we'll make a graph here, right? We'll make a graph. We'll put intensity here and volume here, right? And make it go across. So when we think about training, right? Exercise, the gym, sports, intensity is the amount of physical strain that you put on your body at a certain period of time. So think about it like this. Intensity could be in 5 seconds. It could be over 10 seconds. It could be over a minute, 30 minutes, or an hour, right? So if I do a 1 rep max, that is a very intense 5-second interval, but the volume is low, right? So the volume here is low. Same with this. Obviously then as the duration increases, the volume gets a little bit higher and higher and higher. Right? So understanding the principle of intensity, what is that? That is a factor of stimulus. It is one of the factors of the stimulus of training. We've talked about that in a previous episode. So make sure you understand that in order to get this concept, right? So for intensity, it's the factor of the stimulus that gets your body to change. So obviously, as you are more intense about the way you do things, you are going to stimulate more and get the kind of reaction or results that you want, depending on the style of training. I could do a whole nother video about different training and intensity styles, which I'll probably just do one video about training intensity. But right now, I just want to cover a general grand scheme of the topic, right? And then it goes with volume, right? As we increase the volume, we're always going to increase intensity, right? In a different way. So volume equals sets times reps times weight lifted. Basically meaning if I do 3 sets of 8 at 100 pounds for easy math, right? 3 sets of 8 at 100 pounds. I'm going to get, that's 2,400 pounds of work. So that is my volume on the muscle on the body, 2,400. That's what volume is. Now, obviously, so think about intensity in 2 ways. If I double the volume, so I do 6 sets, and this becomes 4,800, intensity's up, no matter what, right? But another way that you could do it too is time. So say time is another variable. So say this 2,400 took you 30 minutes, okay? Whereas this 4,800 took you 60 minutes. Although you did more work volume, the intensity did not change. But if I did 2,400 in 30 minutes and then I upped the speed of which I've done things and I did 4,800 in 30 minutes, now intensity has gone up. If that makes sense. So understand volume and how it affects the body, the cumulative work that you're doing. And this can be applied to anything. Sports, education. Imagine if I study 5 chapters in 30 minutes. And then the next day I studied 7 chapters of the same page. Let's say 10 pages each. 10 pages. That's 70 in 30 minutes. The intensity, not only the volume, but the intensity of my education session went up. It's going to require a more higher demand on the brain, right? So when we think about these two, on the training aspect, as intensity is going up, depending on the variable of time, it's also gonna then adjust the amount of volume that you're doing, or I'm sorry, not adjust, but correlate to the amount of volume that you're putting onto your body and the kind of strain you're giving it, and that is going to cause that big stimulus that you want. So understanding these, I'll go into more depth on these in 2 other videos, but for right now, just getting an overall understanding of how does intensity affect your workout and how can you change it versus volume. So then the other important thing from these two via recovery. All right, let's talk about recovery now. So with recovery, we look at intensity and we look at volume. As intensity goes up, right, and as intensity of exercise or training or education goes up, your body's ability to recover is going to take longer. Right, so like I said, we look at intensity with an equation of time. And we look at volume as an equation of intensity. Right, so with intensity, if intensity goes up, the amount of time it takes for you to recover is going to take longer. Whereas if intensity is less, it's going to take less time to recover. And vice versa with volume. If I do 2,400 pounds of work, it's going to take this amount of recovery to get my body to accept that stimulus, adapt to it, and make a change that we want. Strength, size, body fat reduction, right? And as this goes up, the volume goes up. So as the volume goes up, right, recovery takes longer and longer, okay? You know, if you turn this into 7,200. And why this is an important thing to understand is because, you know, correlating these two together, right? Correlating these two together, you're going to start seeing patterns that people that train at very intense levels at low volume might have good recovery. Whereas people that where they train at low intensity but high volume, right? With this, something like this could be biking, right? You put a lot of miles on the bike ride, but it wasn't that intense, right? Your heart rate stayed normal, wasn't a lot of resistance. Whereas high intensity with low volume could be like a 5x5 bench, because it's only 25 reps. But the intensity is extremely high because it's heavy sets of 5. Whereas high volume, low intensity could be 3 sets of 20 reps at a light weight. That's 60 reps, but the intensity is low. So knowing these, you can make better decisions as to how to be and adjust the training and how often you actually need to train. So let's kind of put that into real life perspective. Okay, so let's apply a real life scenario or a couple to different kinds of jobs or professions. If you're a bodybuilder, right? Bodybuilder. If you're a bodybuilder, right? You like your lifestyle is revolved around the gym. In order to balance out an optimal recovery with training, your intensity versus volume is going to have to be kind of like this. Because there's going to be times as a bodybuilder where you need a lot of volume. You need 6 days a week in the gym. Or you need, you need 6 days a week in the gym, 2 hours a day. That's volume. Intensity is 2 a days. 2 a days. Right? Because you could do 2 a days times 3 times a week, and that's the same as doing 6 days on once a week, right? Like 6 workouts Monday through Saturday versus 2 a days, 3. That's intensity. This is volume. So as a bodybuilder, you're going to need to vary intensity versus volume, and you need to understand that if you're more experienced, so you understand, do I need to have more intensity right now, or do I need to have more volume right now? Or do I have less intensity right now or less volume right now? Or do you need to have a balance back out, right? And understanding that is a tricky topic, right? But now let's look at someone that works a desk job, right? They're sitting all the time, right? They're sitting nonstop. Accountants, lawyers, you name it. Sometimes school teachers, whatever it may be in your profession. As a desk job, relative to intensity and volume, what I recommend is volume is moderate, but intensity is high. Because with here, moderate volume, I recommend 3 to 4 days a week. If you work a desk job, get in the gym or exercise. That's all you need. You don't need 6 days on. You don't need 2 a days. You probably can't do it. You don't have the time, right? But you need like minimum 2 to 3 days up to 4 days a week as your volume, moderate volume, right? And also sets and reps, right? And then with intensity, I recommend it's high. I recommend that you do, 5x5 heavy weightlifting. I recommend that you do 30 to 45 minute intense workouts. Because why this is important is because during the day, a desk job, 9 to 5, let's just put, is high volume, but very low intensity. So you have to counteract it. You have to find the right solutions. Right? This is why, like, when I have people go into the gym, I tell them, like, make sure you know what you're doing so you maximize your time in the gym. Because if you're doing this and then you go into the gym and you don't know what you're doing, you're walking through it, you are literally wasting time. Literally. Do not waste your time. And don't waste your money on a gym membership, right? So understanding this, make sure your intensity is high. So you stimulate your body very quickly and effectively. But keep volume moderate so it's sustainable, right? Now let's look at a labor job. Labor job is probably high volume and moderate to high intensity. So as a labor worker, construction or warehouse, things like that, you're going to want low volume and low intensity. Because what this actually does is it counteracts the high stimulus from a labor job to not only help you recover more, so then you're able to have the energy and the ability to go to the gym and do this kind of workout. And just because it's low volume, low intensity, well, what this could mean is I have you do 3 sets of 10 for 3 to 4 exercises, and it takes you 45 to 60 minutes, right? With 2-minute rest periods. That is low intensity, and it's relatively low volume. I mean, it's only 30 reps times 3 to 4. It's 90 to 120 repetitions of something. If you work in a warehouse, you're picking up more than 120 repetitions of something. So you don't necessarily need to have a high volume or a high intensity to get results then. You actually want to kind of see a more of a counteractive approach to where you do 90, 120 reps, but of a moderate weight and moderate exercise, because you'll get the results then that you want. All right? Whereas if all of a sudden someone's working a labor job, 8 to 6, and they're doing, 5,000 cases a day of whatever, 5,000 cases a day, that's a ton. You're training, that's a huge stimulus. And recovery is going to plummet because it's so high. And it's going to break your body down. You're not going to have any energy, no time, no focus, or any kind of mental thought process to try to train. And then imagine if I was like, all right, man, do 6 sets of 15 for 5 exercises, and I want you to get all that done in 25 minutes, aka some CrossFit workouts. Volume's extremely high, and intensity is extremely high. You will not get any results from this if you're working a labor job, right? Or if you work desk, you need high intensity, moderate volume. And if you work labor, desk, and if you work more into the gym space, or like active, it's not labor, but it's active, then you need a combination of low, medium, high, low, medium, high, of those two. Understanding intensity versus volume will give you dramatic changes in your ability to train right and get the stimulus that you want, and still be able to recover well and actually give your body the ability to adapt to that stimulus and literally make the change that you want. That is a really important thing to know. I wanted to cover that. If you like the video, if you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. Share it. We're posting about this stuff all the time, just to be able to have people have this ability to learn about it. Again, I appreciate you guys. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, let me know that people are engaging with this stuff, or send me a text, comment on something, and let me know if this helped you, as far as maybe trying to balance out, if you're working labor jobs, a desk job, or some kind of more just like general active occupation, and how you can still be able to manage getting gym and exercise in to get you the results that you want. So until next time.